My name is Sophia, and a few years ago, my world was turned upside down. I was a chef with a charming little restaurant in Florence. It was everything to me, a culmination of years of hard work, passion, and dreams. I still remember the day it all went up in flames. A faulty electrical wire, they said. In minutes, my dream was reduced to ashes, and I thought I'd never recover, both financially and emotionally. The loss was suffocating, and I felt as though I had lost a part of myself. Desperate to clear my mind, I decided to spend some time in the Tuscan countryside. Tuscany had always been my happy place. The rolling hills, the endless vineyards, the rustic charm, it was the perfect escape from my troubled reality. Little did I know that this trip would change my life in ways I couldn't have imagined. That's where I met Luca. Luca was a quiet man who owned a vineyard. He had his own tragic past. He had lost his parents in a car accident a few years back. He inherited the vineyard and poured his heart into maintaining it, much like I did with my restaurant. We were both broken in our own ways, and somehow, that drew us together. I still remember the first day I met Luca. I was wandering through the hills, trying to find solace in the rolling vineyards and endless skies. I stumbled upon his vineyard purely by accident. I was lost, both literally and figuratively. Luca found me, wandering near his vines, and offered to show me around. There was something about his calm demeanor that put me at ease. He had this way of speaking, soft yet firm, with a hint of sadness that mirrored my own. As he showed me around his vineyard, he explained the different types of grapes and the process of winemaking. It was fascinating, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a spark of genuine interest. We bonded over our mutual love of food and wine. Luca would tell me about the different grapes, and I'd share recipes and cooking tips. It was a friendship that felt natural, easy, and slowly it began to turn into something more. Our days were filled with vineyard tours, cooking classes, and exploring the scenic countryside. Luca showed me the hidden gems of Tuscany, places only locals knew about. We'd have picnics under the warm sun, sipping wine and sharing stories. It was like a dream, a beautiful escape from our troubled pasts. One afternoon, Luca took me to a secluded spot by a small lake. The water was crystal clear, reflecting the azure sky above. We spread out a blanket, and I laid out a simple meal of fresh bread, cheese, and olives. Luca uncorked a bottle of his best wine, and we toasted to new beginnings. "Tell me about your restaurant," he said, taking a sip of wine. I hesitated, the pain still fresh. "It was my everything," I began. "A small place in Florence, but it was mine. I poured my heart into it, and seeing it burn down. It was like losing a part of myself." Luca reached out and took my hand. "I understand. When my parents died, I felt like the ground had been pulled from under me. But working on this vineyard, it helped me heal." We sat in silence for a while, the gentle rustling of leaves and the chirping of birds the only sounds around us. It was a comforting silence, filled with understanding and unspoken words. The romance between us grew steadily. It wasn't the kind of fiery passion that burns out quickly, but a slow, simmering connection that felt deeply right. Every touch, every glance, every shared laugh brought us closer together. Just when everything seemed perfect, my business partner, Marco, arrived. He had been helping me plan the reopening of my restaurant, something I hadn't mentioned to Luca yet. Marco was a good friend, someone I trusted implicitly. We had been through a lot together, and his support was invaluable. Seeing Marco, Luca jumped to conclusions. He thought I was planning to leave Tuscany without telling him that our relationship was just a fleeting summer fling. I could see the hurt in his eyes, and it broke my heart. Luca started to distance himself, and I could feel the wall he was putting up between us. He became more withdrawn, spending long hours in the vineyard, avoiding me. It was like he had built an invisible barrier around himself, and I didn't know how to break through it. I couldn't understand why he was pulling away until Marco pointed it out. "You need to talk to him, Sophia," Marco said one evening as we sat on the porch of the small cottage I was renting. "He thinks you're leaving without a word." I felt a pang of guilt. I had been so caught up in my plans that I hadn't considered how it might look to Luca. "I didn't mean to hurt him," I said, my voice trembling. "Then go to him. Explain everything." One evening, I decided to confront Luca. I found him at the edge of the vineyard, looking out at the setting sun. The sky was a breathtaking canvas of oranges, pinks, and purples, a typical Tuscan sunset. The beauty of it made my heart ache. "Luca, we need to talk," I said, my voice trembling. He turned to me, his eyes filled with pain. "Are you leaving, Sophia?" I shook my head. "No, I'm not leaving. I never intended to leave without telling you. Marco is here to help me with the plans, but I want you to be part of those plans too." We talked for hours, under the twilight sky, clearing every misunderstanding. I explained my dreams of reopening the restaurant and how I wanted to incorporate the wines from his vineyard. I reassured him that my feelings for him were real and that I saw a future for us together. He listened, his expression softening with every word. When I finished, he took my hand, his touch gentle but firm. "I'm sorry I doubted you," he said quietly. "I've lost so much, and I was afraid of losing you too." "You won't lose me, Luca," I said, tears in my eyes. "I want us to build something beautiful together." By the time the stars filled the sky, we had reconciled. We shared a picnic, just like we used to, under the beautiful Tuscan sunset. It felt like the beginning of a new chapter. Luca and I began to plan a future together, combining our passions for food and wine. We envisioned joint ventures, where people could come to experience the magic of Tuscany through our eyes. The fire that had once destroyed my life ended up leading me to a love and a future I had never imagined. We spent our days working side by side, transforming the vineyard and planning the new restaurant. We hosted small gatherings, inviting friends and family to taste our creations. The support and love from the community were overwhelming, and it gave us the strength to move forward. We faced challenges along the way. There were moments of doubt, a fear that we were taking on too much. The vineyard required constant attention, and starting a new restaurant was no small feat. But we supported each other, our bond growing stronger with each passing day. I remember one particularly difficult harvest season. The weather had been unpredictable, and we were short on hands. Luca and I worked tirelessly, often late into the night, to ensure the grapes were harvested at the right time. It was exhausting, but we did it together, side by side. The wine from that year was one of the best we'd ever produced, a testament to our hard work and determination. Now, several years later, I often think back to those days and how fate brought us together. Our story, much like the Tuscan sunsets we love, is a reminder that beauty can arise from the ashes of our past. One of my favorite memories is of a night we hosted a special dinner at the vineyard. The tables were set under the open sky, adorned with candles and flowers. The air was filled with the scent of fresh herbs and the sound of laughter. It was a celebration of life, love, and new beginnings. Luca and I stood together, looking out at the happy faces of our guests. "We did it," he whispered, his arm around my waist. "We did," I replied, feeling a sense of peace and fulfillment I had never known before. Our journey wasn't without its challenges, but every obstacle brought us closer together. We learned to communicate, to trust, and to support each other through the ups and downs. Our love grew stronger with each passing day, rooted in the soil of our shared dreams and experiences. Today, our vineyard and restaurant are thriving. We welcome visitors from all over the world, sharing with them the magic of Tuscany and the story of our love. It's a story of resilience, hope, and the power of starting over. And every evening, as the sun sets over the rolling hills, I'm reminded of how far we've come and how beautiful life can be when you find the courage to rebuild.
Be sure to subscribe to Edge of Your Seat Stories and click the notification bell for more captivating mysteries filled with intrigue, romance, and dynamic relationships. Please leave a comment below. Tell us of your stories. Until next time, dream big.